Hello, welcome back to my organic kitchen, and welcome to all those of you who haven't been here before. I hope everybody is safe at home, doing the best you can. I apologize, the lighting is not very good. It's afternoon here in California. I know that it's morning in Australia, and this is what I decided to make this class at this time so Australians could join in. So we're going to be making Anzac biscuits today, and for those of you who don't know, Anzac Day, 25th of April, is a day in which Australia and New Zealand remember those who lost their lives in the wars. Anzac Day started in Gallipoli in the First World War, when many Australians and New Zealand soldiers lost their lives. And that has been taken as a day to remember everyone who has fighted or is fighting that war at the moment, and also to thank all the military service people who always are there up front, fighting for what they believe and to give us a better life. So for me also, Anzac Day has a very special meaning because I landed the first time. Today will be 22 years ago in Australia, where I lived for 18 years. I live now in Northern California, for those of you who don't know. So I hope you enjoy, and I will invite you to go and search, a little bit more about the Anzac spirit and what the Anzac mean. There's fantastic books written about it. So traditionally, when these biscuits were created, they were salty and they were really hard because they had to make it all the way to the other side of the world from Australia, and back then it was all by boat. It develops, and now it's a sweet biscuit. In my organic kitchen, we always make Anzac biscuits, and we always have them for breakfast on Anzac Day, which is this coming Saturday. So I told you what we need. If you want to cook along, that would be great. If not, I will put the video in my YouTube channel later on this evening, so you can go and have a look, and I'll write the ingredients that you need. So we need some flour. I'm going to be using spelt flour. I find spelt flour works really well with baking, and it's very easy to substitute for normal plain flour or all-purpose flour. If you're on a gluten-free diet, use a gluten-free baking flour, but also make sure your oats are gluten-free as well. So oats are the main ingredient of this recipe. We need some sugar. We need some coconut, shredded coconut. We need butter, bicarb soda, and the original recipe asked for golden syrup. I actually use maple. I normally buy this in box, so I sort of fill up this bottle. And I've read somewhere the other day that you can mix maple syrup with a little bit of honey, because golden syrup tends to be a little bit thicker than maple. So I'm going to try and see how it works. And for utensils, I'm going to be using my my stand mixer. It's easier to do. We need a pot where we're going to melt the butter with the maple syrup. And I've got some boiling water that we're going to need to mix with the bicarb, which is the raising agent for this cookie or biscuits. And I've got here a cookie tray, or a biscuit tray, to go in the oven. I will be making more than one, but I'll just make one with you, so you don't get bored. So I'm going to set my oven at 160 degrees Celsius, which is 325 Fahrenheit. Sorry, I needed to check to be sure, and I need one more gadget. I've got this measuring spoon. This is a tablespoon measuring. I'm going to be making them double because they spread out later. So the first thing we're going to do, so I've got here I've got a block. Here in the US, butter comes in a block and of about 113 grams, which is 4 ounces, which is 8 tablespoons. I'm just going to use a block. I'm not going to worry about putting a whole 125 grams. I'm just going to put a block. I could add an extra tablespoon, but I'm just going to do it that way. And to this, we need to add the maple syrup, which we need 1/3 of a cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just about 2/3 of these. See, I didn't fill it up all the way up. I'm going to finish filling it up now with honey. Isn't this cute? And I have chosen to buy a really dark honey. Mountain forest honey. Okay, so we're going to put this on the stove to melt the butter with the maple syrup, with the syrup in general. So let's get this on the stove. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna put it sort of in a medium so it doesn't boil. And now we're gonna start getting all dry ingredients together. So we need 2 cups of the oats, measuring cups. I've got all the sizes. So we're just going to do 2. This is sort of a healthier sort of biscuit. You know, this is a good option if you're sort of looking after your diet a little bit more. And you can always look at changing ingredients as well. You know, originally the recipe asked for golden syrup, which I don't like. Then I use maple, which is a bit healthier. I use the spell flour because I find it's easier to digest. You know, change the recipes to suit your needs and your liking and your taste. Okay, we need a cup. Sorry, I'm making sure I don't make a mistake because I make this only once a year, and I have to remember. So I've got my cup. Also, this is a stone ground spell flour, so it will be a lot thicker. It will take it would absorb the moisture a lot more. And then we're going to do the coconut. Coconut, we need 3/4 cups of desiccated coconut. I'm not a big fan of coconut, but I have to admit the smell is really nice. So 3/4 cup. My butter is sort of really bubbling away. You can see, more or less. So I have lowered the heat with a 3/4 cup. So we've got 1, 2, it's the first day here that we can actually feel the heat. I'm actually feeling quite hot at the moment. Is it hot where you are? Okay, we're gonna add the sugar, and it asks for 2/3 of a cup. I never put more than half a cup of sugar, so I'm just gonna do 1/2 cup of sugar. That should be enough. We don't want it to be too sweet. Okay, this will make quite a few. If I don't remember, I think I got a little bit more than 12 last year when I made it. So I'm seeing a few people from Australia. Good morning, Australia. I'm so excited. And I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna start doing things every week in the afternoon so I can get you, I can be with you. I always do classes here in the morning in California, and of course Australians are sleeping. Okay, I'm not going to cook it anymore because the butter is gonna finish melting because the syrup is quite warm at the moment. So I'm gonna put it on my chopping board here. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick mix. So for those of you who just joined, I have got some hot water on the stove. We've melted a stick of butter, which is about 125 grams, a bit less, but for those of you who can, if you've got a scale, 125 grams. I just use the blocks that we buy here in the US, and we've put 1/3 of a cup of golden syrup. If you use it, I have used about 2/3 of that of maple, and I put a little bit of honey to substitute the golden syrup. It's 115 grams of the golden syrup. And here we've got 2 cups of oats, whichever oats you've got at home. I've got these roll oats here. We've got 1 cup of flour. I'm using spelt, but you can use plain or purpose, whichever works for you. And even whole wheat will work as well. We've got 3/4 of a cup of coconut, and I just put 1/2 cup of sugar because we've got the syrup, which is quite it's quite sweet. 1/2 cup of sugar will be enough. And so we're gonna mix our dry ingredients for a bit. Normally when you're baking, you always want to mix your dry ingredients from one side and then your dry ingredients on the other side. I do have some Spanish people. Hola, ¿cómo estáis? Bienvenidos, gracias. I did say, because I decided to do this class at this time so Australia could join in, being an Australian theme in the class, that this class is going to be in English. But I'm not going to, now I'm going to be doing classes in the 2 languages as I used to do before. Okay, we have to do a little chemical thing here. I'm going to put this back in here. So my kitchen is not very big, so I'm doing the best I can. I'm just going to mix. I need to mix a tablespoon. Yeah, I forgot that. Okay, so I need to mix a teaspoon of bicarb soda, just the 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda. Hello, Rosie, welcome. So you joined this week. Thank you so much. So we've got 1 teaspoon of bicarb. This is going to be our raising agent in this recipe, with 2 tablespoons of hot water. I have the water boiling. My kettle is in my garage. So I didn't want to have to go all the way to my garage and come back. So And we need to mix that really well. And the oven is going. So let's just mix this quite well. And we're gonna add the water and the bicarb, the mix. We're gonna add it to the melted butter with the syrup. And the oven is on, so we're gonna be done in no time. So we've got here our melted butter with the syrup, and now we're going to add, to make sure that everything goes in. Normally it's okay. I'm going to move this away so it doesn't, it's not in your way. I see that some people can't see very well with, I'm trying to do the best I can so you can all see, because I'm streaming live in both Instagram and Facebook at the same time. Not everybody follows me in both, so okay. So now this actually smells really nice. Okay, now we're gonna add this to our dry ingredients until they just together. Yeah. So I like to sort of adding it as it's going. So we're gonna go slowly. And it's starting to get wet. I'll show you in a moment. I should have a camera on my forehead so you can see also what I'm doing in the future. We'll do that in the future. I'm really sorry because this year, because every year ever since we've been living in the US, which is this is our 4th year, I always make Anzac biscuits. And I always send my husband to work. And you know, his Australian colleagues, which are many, they always welcome it. So this year, I'll share with the community around me. So friends, in these times that we live in, please, if you know that your neighbor is in the front line, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, works in a supermarket or in a grocery store, you know, it's a cleaner somewhere, he's in the front line. Please help them, you know, just a batch of cookies, a batch of biscuits, some food that you can leave at the door. Everybody will appreciate it, so do it. So that's it. That was as easy. So what we're going to do now, we're going to start making, we're going to start getting those cookies, those biscuits ready. And the way I normally do it, I hope you can, I'm going to fix a little bit the camera so you guys can see my hands. All right. Okay, so what I like to do, if you have one of these, this is a 1 tablespoon measuring. So I'm going to do double. So what I do is I just scrub it here. So I'm going to do 1 and 2. And you just want to do a little bowl. Seems a bit dry, but because I use, but the measuring cups that I've used are smaller. The measuring cups in the US are a little bit smaller than the standard metrics ones. So I did it on purpose. And you want to leave a space between them, because if you don't, they spread out. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do a few. I have finally baked my first sourdough bread today, which it didn't result the way I expected, but the taste is beautiful. So it was worth the work. 2 weeks making, the starter, and I'm going to try making a different recipe of bread, see if it works better. So once I'm happy with the final result of the bread, then I will put everything in my blog so you can have it and use it as a reference if you want to start making your own sourdough starter. I told you the flavor is so different and the bread is so much nicer than the yeast bread. My dough is a little bit dry. I can feel it, right? I've made these cookies before, or these biscuits before. So I might give them an extra mix because I might have mixed them enough. I don't know if you know, Australians probably do know, but those of you who are not Australian, you don't know that these biscuits can either be soft or crunchy. And this is all preference that some people prefer them crunchy, some people prefer them soft in the middle, and I like them in between, really. But, you couldn't be more Australian than having an Anzac biscuit and a cup of tea. Bushels is the tea that most Australians drink, which you can get here. In the US, there's some stores that sell products from everywhere. I don't want to bore you anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in the oven. So you can make them smaller if you like, just 1 tablespoon, or just grab a little amount with your fingers and just make the bowl. I like measuring everything. It's just the way I am, because I sort of like everything to look the same, but it just depends on what you like. So what you would do, I'm just going to put this in the oven, and then I'll post a photo of how they look. I like sort of flattening them a little bit like that with my fingers. I hope that you can see. They're going to incredibly spread out. So don't put this one. I don't know how big this is, but I normally put 9 in here. And I think that I'll get about 20. No, 20 or maybe more. I'm going to put these ones in the oven. So you bake these ones at 160 Celsius, which is 325 Fahrenheit. You bake them for anything in between 8 to 10 minutes, or until they just sort of deep golden. With biscuits, sometimes you will think that they're not cooked because you touch them in the middle and they're a bit soft. It's very easy to overcook them, and it happened to me over the weekend. My daughter did some snickerdoodles, and it was my fault that they are not as soft as they should be, because when I touched them, I thought they were a little bit undercooked, but they didn't need. So even if they're a little bit soft in the middle, after 8-10 minutes, I still take them out of the oven because they should be ready. And besides, you have to let them on the same tray for about an extra 5 minutes, and then you put them in a cooling rack. So I think I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to do a quick story with the once the biscuits are out of the oven, so I can show them to you. I want to thank you for being here. I'm seeing people that I know, so it's really nice to see you all. I've got things that I'm planning to do from now on. I will let you know what's happening and give you time to prepare. But as long as we are home, I will be offering these live free cooking classes. So it would be great to know what you would like me to make, or if there's a particular recipe that you would like me to show you how to make in person. Like sometimes reading a recipe is nice, but when you see how someone does it, it's a different story. And I'm doing proper cooking classes back in my professional kitchen where I work. So you can go to pansandfire.com and book a class with me. This Saturday we're making Italian food. So I'm going to be making gnocchi, tomato sauce, and I'm going to make a American style Caesar salad. But through my organic kitchen, I'm going to be here every week. I think next Tuesday I'll be doing a Spanish class at my usual 11 a.m. Pacific time class, but I haven't fully decided yet what I'm going to do. So anyway, thank you so much. I'll see you all very soon. Stay home, stay safe, take care, eat well and be happy. And bye. Thank you.